to another episode of Unloaded and Uncovered podcast with me, your host, Magda. Go ahead and follow my YouTube channel, subscribe, like, share, hit the notification bell for more updates and more interviews. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Unloaded and Uncovered Podcast. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Unloaded and Uncovered. So today I have Hazel. Hi, Hazel. How are you?
Hey, hi, Magna. Thanks for having me. Hi, everyone.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming. I appreciate you coming and being a guest today.
Yes,
So
yes.
how's your Friday going?
Oh my God, it's going good. I'm definitely happy it's Friday. I'm trying to make sure that I'm intentional about how I manage the weekend. And so I'm kind of starting to think about that. But yeah, it's going good. How about yours?
It's good. This is the last Friday of February, I would say. Yeah, it's the last one. And then Easter is right around the corner. And then next thing you know, we're back into the holidays. So yeah, it's going good. I can't complain. Birthday was today's date, the 22nd. So
Yeah.
thank you. Birthday was 10 days away, 10 days ago. So, it's all good. I'm looking forward to the future.
Yeah,
Now that we've got,
related.
oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. But now we got all that good stuff out of the way. So let's get into it, Hazel. I forgot. Honestly, excuse me. I've gone through so many people's bios and things like that. But if you could go ahead and give me a refresher, but tell everybody who Hazel is and start from the beginning. Let's do that. Let's start from the beginning.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I can absolutely do that. So Hazel, I'll start current state and then I'll rewind for you.
Awesome.
So currently I am a holistic career coach. That's what I do in my business. It's called Redefining the Future You. I also have a podcast. It's called It's the Human Experience. I'm hosting a women's empowerment event in March, actually March 23rd. So exactly a month away, right? Really about removing the veil, becoming your highest self, and just understanding that societal standards are a glass ceiling that you don't want to be a part of. It's time to bet on yourself and just become the highest version of yourself. And so when I rewind and thinking about how Hazel became all those things, it really came from growing up as a first generation child coming from Jamaica, moving here with a single mother, struggling and trying to make her way despite the fact that she had already had her career as an accountant in Jamaica, made a name for herself, but had to come here and start over. And so being a part of that struggle, I started quickly realizing that I had to make sure that I made a mark, not only in the time that I was here, but that I created a legacy to where my kids and my generations after me don't have to go through that struggle. So Hazel, from a child till she got older, was always the kind of person who sought out answers, very curious, wanting to know more, wanting to do more, wanting to be more. And so I think that I've held on to that through my teenage life into my adult life. And I just want to make sure that women across the world that wants those same things because they know they have something in them to become more, that they don't feel alone. They don't feel like they can't. They don't feel like, oh my God, there's something going on with me. They're able to attract those people and feel seen, feel valued, and feel heard. So I just feel like it's a calling over my life. And I've just owned it. When I was younger, I didn't own it. I'm like, why me? And like, what's going on here? Why do I feel out of place? And now I embrace it with open arms, like it's me and I'm going to do it.
I feel you. I feel you. So how did you get into holistic? How did you become a holistic coach? Because I had
Yeah.
someone previously on here who does, she's a holistic coach as well, but she does human design. Like she adds that into her practice. So how did you tap into holistic coaching?
Yeah. So initially, I have 4 degrees. So I have an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, and 2 master's degrees. So in trying to become and make sure I follow societal standards, if you will, I started working on my education and started working on my career. Once I started working in roles where I was hiring people and bringing people in, I started to see that people weren't equipped with the right knowledge and resources to be able to advocate for themselves, make them the best candidate, as well as negotiate the right pay to close those wage gaps. So that's what led me to be a career coach. So I started doing career coaching in about 20, and then maybe in about 2016, 20, when my clients started coming back to me because they wanted another job, I started to realize they didn't know what they wanted to be when they grew up. I was helping them with their resume, with interview prep, but they were just kind of going after what they thought was a thing to throw the whatever that thing is, and they were throwing the thing into the little circle thing, and they had no idea. They were essentially shooting from the hip, and I didn't like that. I wanted people to get a better sense of who they are, what their values were, what these organizations' values are, seeing if it aligned, and making sure that they create a life for themselves that they enjoy. I think not many people realize that the reason they were unhappy in their life was because they created it. And so that's where the holistic part came in. I realized that I had to help people understand that everything that you're experiencing is by design, to the point of your previous guest. And you have to learn how to make sure you set a life up that makes sense for you and not just go after what society tells you to do. So that's where that came in.
Got you. So you say you work with women only, correct?
No, I have a few men that I've worked with throughout the year. It's like they come over and say they want their resume done or they want interview prep or whatever they want to kind of figure out. They typically are not the ones who want that coaching from the perspective of help me figure out what I want to do, just being completely transparent. They typically know what they want to do and they know that I'm the person to help them get it done. So it's kind of like, this is the job I want, fix this resume, help me say the right things on the interview, help me, tell me how to make sure I get the pay I want, and let's make that happen. So like they typically know more about what feels right to them, and they own it, right? I feel like women are scared to say they want more money. They're scared to say they don't want to do these kind of things. They're scared to seem ungrateful. And men are not. They're just like, this is what I want. Make it happen quickly. I'm paying you. And women are like, I don't want her to think that I am all about money. I don't want her to think that, oh, because I say I'm Christian, I don't really want to help people or answer phones. Like, girl, just say what you want.
This is so true. I'm not gonna lie. I've been. It took me my last place of employment to realize, oh hell no. The next one, this is what I want. This is what I'm about to do. You're not about to lowball me and make me feel inadequate in my position because I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm seeing. It's really amazing to see the dynamic between male and female and how they move in corporate or how they move looking move through life and looking at life as a whole. I like that perspective. It's hard for us as women to get out of that emotional square, circle, box, whatever you want to say, or however you want to picture it, and then take us out of that and be like, listen, either you want a good life or you just want to struggle. So pick your struggle. I like that concept. I really do. So how did you move from that? So like, I don't want to say that you struggled, but how did you move from the concept of I want more?
Yeah, I always wanted more. My mom literally, I'll say that the conference that I talked about on March 23rd is my mom's second heavenly birthday. And so
Oh,
I've always been told from my mother since I was a child that you need another family. This family is too poor for you. Like,
oh,
like she has always said that. She's always told me I was special. She's always told me I was different. She's always put that in me. So, and it's because I've always been like that. I was always walking ahead of everyone. I was always coming up with new ideas and questioning things. I've just always been like that. So I just always knew that that life was not for me and I was not going to embrace it and accept it.
that's interesting. No, you come from a Caribbean background, so do I. However, how do I want to say this? Okay, so I'm Haitian American, okay? And I don't know if you have any other Caribbean friends, but most of us have experienced that negative talk as a way to push you forward. But it seems like your mom poured into you a lot. Can you like I know and again, I never said this actually. My condolences to you, with your mother transitioning. But can you talk more into that, tapping into that? Because it's honestly unheard of to have first generation Caribbean descent to have parents to pour into them.
Yeah, so I would say that my mom naturally, like her favorite saying was love is the master key. So though she was struggling in terms of finding her way in the American world, she always loved seeing people win. She always loved seeing people embrace who they are as people. She always tried to pour into other people. Even she had friends that were going to school to be nurses, and she was still trying to figure out her way. But she
Right.
would sacrifice her last dollar to help them go through school, to give them a pair of clothes, to bring them food.
Uh-huh.
It was truly naturally who she was. So I think
Right.
that being her child, it was no different. She definitely would have moments to where she like warned me that, the higher the monkey climb is the more his body exposed. So you want to climb that tree to be so high. Be careful, honey. It's not that fun up there. So she would have moments where she would say things like that. But she saw that I wanted more. She knew that it was not something I was trying to be or do because of any one thing. It was just in me. And so she just essentially encouraged me. Her biggest thing was just make sure that I have a relationship with God and make sure that the things that I'm doing are sincere and pure. But outside of that, it was always support in the sense of the best she could, right? She didn't
Yeah.
have much, so she was not pouring into me from a financial standpoint because she did not have it to pour into. So she poured into me from the standpoint of only your best is good enough, and make sure that you're not comparing yourself to people doing worse than you. If you're going to compare it all, make sure it's people that are doing better than you. And so those kind of things just really help me understand that being genuine is the way to go, and whatever it is that you're doing, stay true to yourself. And so definitely have moments though where it was kind of like, girl, what are you doing? But she just encouraged me. Like, it's kind of like, okay, I see that something is different. I'm not going to be the person to hold you back. I'll support you the best that I can. This is what I have. I don't have what you need to do what you want to do from a financial perspective, but know that I'm here in whatever your endeavors are.
So, are you the only child, or do you have siblings?
Oh no, I am number 5 of 7.
Five
Yeah.
of seven.
Yes, and I've definitely been alone on the quest in the sense of when she says there's something special about me or different, like she felt like her other kids were not trying to be like, girl, why are you only doing this? Like I like literally when she was like 40 something, I told her she needs to go back to school because I know from an island perspective, and the listeners are probably gonna judge me, but they think they have kids to take care of them. So I nicely let her know when she was in her 40s, sweetheart, I had to go to school, honey. You better get it together and go to school or something because you did not have me to take care of you. I love you. I will be there, but I'm going to need you to take the first foot forward first. Like, I'll support you. I literally took her to school to sign up for school. And
Oh,
so, yeah. And so she graduated when she was 49 and she became a respiratory therapist here. And so it really helped her too. It got her confidence back, right? She being an accountant in Jamaica and really everyone knew her name. Miss Webb, they know her name. And you come here, you start over, and you start to lose a sense of your fierceness and who you are. So in that experience, she was able to feel real good. Literally will post her in a lab coat all the time on Facebook. I'm like, Mommy, you're not at work. Why are you constantly posting your lab coat? And when she passed, I'm like, oh my God, I understand now. It was that sense of purpose and seeing that you were able to bet on yourself and do it. And I'm like, how dare I open my mouth in those times and tell her, like, girl, stop, take that picture down. That was years ago, but and it wasn't a flashback Thursday or Friday. Listen, but no, she in her experience, I think that was really important. And so I've just always been like that. But I'm the kind of person where I'm going to push you too. I'm going to push you to go and accomplish your goals and your dreams. So I feel like the things that I'm doing is just natural because that's just who I've always been.
right. So while you are pushing others, who is pushing you?
I don't need to be pushed. I push myself. Listen,
Really?
I'm
You're
very
that
self
strong?
motivated.
You're that strong?
I'm self motivated. I am able to reflect and see what it is that I should be doing. Like I can talk myself into doing what it is I'm supposed to do from the
Yeah.
standpoint of, oh my goodness, like I got to download and God told me I need to do XYZ. And I'm like, but, and then I'm quickly able to say, girl, get up and do what you need to do. So I'm not going to say I don't have moments where I question things or I don't feel like doing them. But what I've learned is to do less of what I feel like doing and more of what I need to do. So I would see that that's the difference.
I might need to take a page. Think about something, think about it, think about it, think about it to the point where I'm like, I'm not going to do it anymore because it's just it just took over my thoughts, and now I already had the positive and negative side to it, and I'm leaning more towards the negative. So I'm just like, forget it. I'm not going to do it anymore. But that's amazing. Give me some of your headstrong mindsets over here because I would love to do this. Honestly, I'm lying. I'm lying a little bit because I got back to podcasting, and even though there are days where I'm like, I really don't want to do this interview, what do? I get up and I do it. So I'm lying just a little bit, just a tad bit, just a tad bit. But let's get into your holistic coaching. I don't know if I asked you this already. Why the holistic route?
Well, yeah. So the holistic route is just making sure that we're not ignoring every facet of our lives. Like
Okay.
we talked about this a little bit before in the sense that you can't try to go into a career where, say, for instance, I have all these degrees and I want to become a CEO of whatever healthcare organization. And the reality is I have 3 children. And the reality is I have a husband. And so you're trying to become these things, but then you say that you have values and things that are important within raising your kids. You want to be present. You don't want your child to grow up and they don't even have a relationship with you because you are always at work. You want to build a relationship where you are strong in that relationship, but you guys can't go on dates. You guys can't do anything because of the fact that you're always at work. Or you're creating a business for yourself and you've trained yourself in the same way society has trained you to work all these hours in your business. And so still you have no time for your family or friends outside of work. And so for me, it's important when you think about like a holistic standpoint, you're thinking about all the things that are important to you in your life. And how do you create a framework in your career or your business that aligns to that so that you can be able to live the life that you want to live? Like you can't add the career before you actually thought about what it is you want in your life. If I want to travel or if I want to make sure that I'm not working weekends, you can't just say, okay, this job is available. I applied to it. You know, it's what's available, so I'm going to take it. And then you show up in the job and you're unhappy. Like that is going to create a life to where you're drained. And like I talked about earlier, you designed it that way. So the holistic part is making sure you think about every bucket of your life and what's important to you. Everything is not important to everybody. So when you think about like the life balance wheel, you have to really sit and think about like what are the key things that keep you fulfilled, keep you happy, and keep you going. And then think about the things that don't fulfill you and make sure that when you're thinking about your career or your business, you're picking things that really closely align to the lifestyle you want to live. And then to the point of what we talked earlier, you have to take action and get out your way whenever it is that you need to do the things you need to do, because that's how you create that life to where you enjoy living.
Got it. Makes sense. It makes total sense. Now let's tap into your podcast. It's the human experience. What's that about?
Yeah, so my podcast is, I feel like when I was starting out in my journey on becoming like the highest version of myself, you would have things like social media or people you look up to and you think that, oh my goodness, like their journey was smooth, right? Or the reason this is happening to me is because it's not meant for me. Or, oh my goodness, it's the devil. There's so many different things that come into play in your mind when you're on a journey to accomplishing a new goal, especially once you're not working on societal goals. I talked about this in one of my episodes on the podcast. It's like when you're working on societal goals, you know the time frame. You know it takes 4 years to complete a degree. You know that job needs 2 years. But when you're working on societal goals, there's no time frame. It can happen for you at any time. It could take 2 months, it could take 2 years, it could take 15 years. And so I felt like more people were advertising the good things that were happening in their lives. And I'm not a proponent of putting all your business out on social media, but I feel like what happens is we don't transparently share the mental hardships we've had to go through. We don't share the struggle that we had to go through. We don't share the pitfalls and things that happens in our lives while the good things are happening in our lives. And as a result, people who want more and can absolutely be more, they fold their hands and stop because they feel like, oh my goodness, the reason these things are happening to me is
Mhm.
because there's something wrong with me. Where
Right.
the human experience, like on purpose, the EX was capitalized because I feel like we X out our problems, like we X out an X, and we don't talk about our problems. And so no one realizes that, oh my gosh, she actually goes through stuff too. And so as a result, they just kind of feel alone. And in the island community, I'm not sure if it's in all of the Black community, there's so much shame around struggles and things you go through, and there's so much cliche around presenting yourself in this perfect light. And I think that it's not fair because we're all going through all the things. When you think about the fact that, especially in 2024,
Mhm.
we're working twice as hard to keep up with the lifestyle that our generation before us was able to have. And I think the reality is, with all these things going on with inflation and just the overworking of trying to accomplish more, then you talk about mental health issues that's on the rise. And then you're there feeling these things alone, and you're like, oh my God, Hazel got her stuff all together. I wish I was like her. No, you don't. Stay where you're at, because 9 times out of 10, you don't want other people's problems. If you can't handle your problems, you don't want their problems.
This is true. Comparison is the thief of joy. You're absolutely right. That is, don't nobody want extra problems when it comes to trying to figure out their own. That's a lot. You mentioned, oh my gosh, it slipped my mind. But one question I wanted to ask you: what are some ways that people can tap into changing their design, changing their lives using the holistic approach outside of like career and something? Like, what if it's something so mundane? I don't want to say mundane, small as like exercising or losing weight. Like, what type of strategies would you provide for these people?
Yeah, I always feel like the main thing that's free and easy that everyone can do is journal. Since I've been a teenager, I had a Dear God journal where I would write, Dear God, I can't believe the bullshit that's going on in my life. Like, what is going on right now? Like, I don't feel whole. Something is wrong. Like, please help me. Please direct me. And people think I'm crazy when I say that, but he knows what I'm thinking. So at the end of the day, I'm going to write it because he knows anyway. If I'm lying to him, I'm lying to myself. And so I would just write out my feelings. And I feel like that's always a great start, because when you look at that paper and you read what
Yeah.
you wrote, you're like, oh my God, this is how I feel. Like, I thought I was happy. Somebody at work that bothered me. It has nothing to do with them. So I would say start there, figure out what your truth is. Definitely join therapy if you feel that you can afford it or you can want to commit to it. And then if you do therapy, make sure you show up in the same way that you're showing up with your journal. Like, you're giving them everything. If you're going in and you have a barrier up and you're holding back, stay at home with your journal until you're ready. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, because you don't get anything out of putting a veil up. You don't get anything in life out of hiding who you are. Like, you get better relationships and better outcomes when you just lay it out. Like, it's you. Like, what you hiding you for? Like, it makes no sense.
Well, I think the reason why a lot of people hide themselves is because of so much criticism. You know what I mean? They might not put themselves out there online, but dealing with people that are close to them or around them or within their circle, they feel as if they allow themselves to be themselves or allow themselves to tell people what's going on, they might get judged, they might get criticized, or somebody might downplay their situation to where it's like, oh well, I had that done to me before, you'll be all right, you'll move through it. But I think it's just, that's what it is, like people are just scared to let that out. And I'm one of those people. I tell people all the time, I'm a sensitive thug. Like, I'll go through, I'll talk to you about my problem or whatever. You might say something I might not like or give me harsh criticism. I'll take it in front of your face like nothing is wrong, but I'll go in a car or I'll go in a corner and start crying my little eyes out. You know what I'm saying? So I get I understand why people won't do it, and I understand why it might make them feel some type of way. But that was actually kind of a good strategy. I might have, well, I journal a lot too, so I think I talk the same way to God when I
Yeah.
journal or when I pray. Like, I don't. How would you call those type of prayers? like one of those Christian type of prayers of people who pray like that. I don't pray like that. I go straight up like, God, listen, I don't know what the hell going on, but I'm gonna need you to fix this because
Yeah,
if
let's
I
get this.
fix it, it's gonna look like shit. So please, I beg, just continue to just fix this for me. That's what I wanted to ask you. The mental health within the island or Caribbean community. Why do you think that? Just from your own perspective, I've always wanted to tap into this. Why do you think that we have a difficult time going to therapy to talk about our issues?
That island folks associate therapy to being something is wrong with you from a mental standpoint as it relates to you are literally off your head. You need to go on psych meds. Like somebody needs to put a straitjacket on you. Like
Yeah,
there's no gray for them. So they don't understand that simply you being sad is something
yeah,
going on mentally. You being happy, that's mental. They associate mental illness with therapy. And it's sad because the reality is that we all go through trauma. We're all triggered. We all go through life and we're raised by humans and we experience humans. So there are things that has happened to us that we need to heal from. And they don't really look at it as this is an easy way to be able to really reflect, feed into reflection, address what is holding me back, and move into my higher self as opposed to dwelling within what it is that has happened to me because poor me and it's me and life is wrong with me and everything is me and everybody's watching me and saying things about like get out your head. You are not that important. Like, I think that's the reality. It's like most people act as though like all these things about me. And if you
yeah,
really think about your day, you have so many things you're dealing with within your day. You're not thinking about nobody else. Like somebody crossed your mind and you're like, oh my God, I need to call them. Oh my God, let me check on them. Oh my God, this. And then even if you're upset with somebody, like it crosses your mind for a second, and then life is life. And so you got to get back up and worry about that. So people are like over there in their head thinking things like, this is happening to me because this person is upset with me, or this person put a cross on me, or this person did it this. And so then they look at therapy as something that's just like all for people who have severe mental illnesses as
yeah.
opposed to just basic things and getting through day to day life.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. That's kind of tough getting out of that, especially with us growing up in a Caribbean household. They do deem that as if you are nuts, as if you are crazy, and the first thing they'll tell you is go to church. Jesus will do it. We'll fix it for you. And it's like, well, that's cool, but Jesus ain't here physically. I'm gonna need to actually talk to somebody who might help me work through this issue and give me the strategies that I need to work through this issue. That is very, very, very true. I do want to also ask you, have you ever like worked it's a two-part question. First part, have you worked with your siblings to, in a holistic way? Like have you tried and be like, hey, you might want to know, you just like this your life, you go ahead and do what you gotta do.
Look, no, I took my head because listen, I heard someone say something that really helped me understand. And it resonated in the sense that my siblings, my kids, and I've
Yeah.
always understood this about my kids. My family does not look at me in the same way that the world looks at me. My mom might have looked at me like that, but they grow up with you. They see you running around doing crazy stuff. Like, so they don't see your magic. They don't see your light. They don't see your power. They might, compliment you here and there, but they don't see all your gifts because they're working on their own life, right?
Yeah.
And so I say that to say, I can't change them. They think completely different than me. And outside of thinking completely different than me, what I've also realized, and I said this on an episode on my podcast recently, is that many times, no matter what your profession is and whatever tools that you have, like you may be an OBGYN and you know how to birth babies, but you can't birth a baby at 2 months just because you know how to birth a baby. If that person's not ready, then you're not the person to resolve their issue. So a lot of times You may have people in your family or your circle that they're not ready to take action. They're not ready to hear it. They're not at the place where you are in your healing journey. So
Yeah.
you can't force them to think how you think and get to that place. It took you some time and you were actually working on improving. If they're not ready to improve, then they're looking at you like, what the hell are you talking about? Like they don't care. So I leave it
Yeah.
alone. If you don't come to me and ask me, I leave it alone. It's not my business. It's not my place. I am not God. I'm not trying to change you. The only thing I am concerned about is that anybody crosses my path that wants help and I feel it's something in my spirit where I can help them. I'm going to do the best that I can to be a vessel. But if you did not ask me, it is not my place. It is not my business. And I'm not doing it.
I just wanted to ask because with the work that you do, I'm wondering have they ever reached out to be like, hey, can you help me too, or or anything like that? 'Cause
Yeah, yeah. Like I've helped my sister get higher jobs and things like that. But I think that they come to me for the basic stuff. So they come to me for
Gotcha.
fix my resume, help me get this interview, help me get more money. But keep your opinions to yourself, honey.
Okay, that's good enough for me. That's all I wanted to know. Because I've known people that have worked with, close friends and family to help them get results that they've seen that they've gotten for their clients. So I'm wondering if it was the same dynamic for you. But I get it. I totally understand it and I totally get it. Um, to
In the
piggyback.
island world, to your point of what you talked about, I just want to say in the island world of what you talked about, I mentioned that, I'm one of seven. So I was the last one born in Jamaica. So the others before me, they think completely different in terms of like they were raised in Jamaica longer. I was the first one that came here. I was 5 when I came here. So I'm more Americanized. And so my way and my younger brother and sister were born in America and have lived here their whole lives. So I'm kind of the one in the middle for real, where I'm like truly hybrid. I've always described myself as hybrid in the way that I think. And so I feel like trying to conform them it's impossible.
I
Our
get it now.
experience is different.
I get it now. Now it makes sense. Your other siblings were born in Jamaica. You were in between. I get it now. So makes total sense. It makes total sense. It is kind of hard to, yeah, that clash will definitely happen. I get it now. I totally get it. So to piggyback off of that, where can people find you, work with you, all that good stuff?
Yeah, definitely reach out to me. I'm on Instagram more than I'm anywhere. I'm at Redefining the Future You on Instagram. Workplace Therapy LV if you're interested in the conference. It's in Lake Las Vegas, Nevada on March 23rd of 2024. It's going to be a whole vibe. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. And then the podcast is at It's the Human Experience on Instagram. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. Just search Hazel Atkinson-Brown or Redefining the Future You. And then clearly my website, redefiningthefutureyou.
Oh, this is great. Amazing. Thank you, Hazel. I appreciate you coming on and your time. I learned a lot from you and your holistic approach to life. I'm definitely going to tap into that and bring that over into my life. I mean, I've started it, but hearing it, you're like the second person who has a holistic approach to life. As I mentioned before, as someone who does the whole human design thing. So it's amazing to see Black women tapping into that avenue because it's not normal. It's not what we normally see. I'm just saying. So I just thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your story and sharing what you do. And I appreciate it. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the episode. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like, share, comment, hit that notification bell for more updates and interviews. Follow us on Instagram at Unloaded and Uncovered Podcast. And also find and like us on Facebook, Unloaded and Uncovered. I will see you all next week. Until next time, bye, ladies and gentlemen.